local webcasting for a worldwide audience.
Hello, this is Radio Lewis, where the music matters. My name's Steve Brooks, and this is Vapour Trails. And welcome to Vapour Trails. That was Public Image Limited with The Flowers of Romance. And as you may have guessed, this isn't a Monopoly show. Hurrah! Yes, we're having a break with it. And this is actually a post-punk special. So I'd like to introduce my good friend Phil Dyson, one of the sharers and carers who's come down specially to help out.
Pleasure, mate. It's good to be here.
Yes, thank you very much, Phil. Yes. So we actually, if this sounds slightly shambolic, the reason is that we literally put this together as Phil was coming down on the train. So it was like, texting each other, what do you think about this? Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, and I was like, I've got to get washed. Hang on.
We've been talking about this for months, and of course we put it together literally at the last minute.
Yeah. Usual thing. That's how I'm going to do my PhD, actually. 80,000 words in the last night.
Good luck with
that. The reason for playing that one... the reason was I was going to play Public Image Limited or the original, because that's like obviously the post-punk track, but I used it on something else, so I thought, I can't do that.
Well, you can't repeat yourself, can you?
No, exactly, yeah. So went for Flowers of Romance because the Pistols had a song called Flowers of Romance, which they never released, but they did use it, or sung a couple of bits of it on So It Goes before they did Anarchy in the UK on their first TV show. So it's like that kind of...
there is that kind of connection, isn't there?
Yeah. And I think was Sid Vicious in a band called Flowers of Romance?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, so it is the perfect post-punk song.
I think so.
Yes, absolutely. So anyway, next one is one of your choices, Phil. So.
Yes, it's the Slits. And, I mean... I think before we even get to that, I think we need to sort of very quickly say, well, what do we mean by post-punk? Let's define our terms. And it's a really, I suppose, really not controversial term, but it's it's one of those things where everyone knows what it means, but then no one can actually define it.
Right, yeah.
You know the problem. And we sort of know what it is. And we can say, sort of, well, this is post-punk or this is punk or whatever. And sometimes you can tie yourselves up in knots trying to make distinctions between the two. And I think it's much more of, I guess, a state of mind than of anything else.
I suppose so, yeah. It's kind of like, because I did read a definition, which was it's kind of like when punk started going a bit more cerebral.
That's one way of looking at it, yeah.
In a sense. And when I was when we were thinking about this months ago, the one thing I was thinking to myself, what it's not is new wave.
No.
New wave is a completely different thing. That's skinny trousers, slim ties, standing with your toes pointed, and all that. The Elvis Costello, Jags, and everyone else.
That's right. And that's before we even get to the American definitions, and that's a completely different thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So anyway, let's literally cut to the chase. This is the Slits.
The Slits, yeah. And the Slits were one of these extraordinary bands who really did. We were very autodidactic in the sense they didn't have a clue how to play, and they literally made it up as they went along. It's like, here's a guitar. What do you do with this? It makes this noise. That sounds great. Let's record it. And which is why they sounded completely different from everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And just did not use any of the standard rock and roll templates.
Right.
As indeed most of the stuff we're going to play over the next hour or so is very, very different. He's making a very conscious effort to do something different and something new.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is the Slits and Shoplifting.
Put the cheddar in me pocket, put the rest under the jacket. Talk to the cashier, won't suspect. And if he does, do-ra-da, 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 do-ra-da. 10 quid for the lot, we pay fuck all. Babylonian won't lose much, and we have dinner tonight. Cameras trying to watch us, mirrors on TV, but they're not gonna catch us, 'cause we're gonna run. Hey, fuck all. Babylonian won't lose much, and we have dinner tonight.
There we go, the Slits, making up as they went along. That's brilliant, isn't it? I was saying, we did actually play the Census Things did a cover of that.
I've never even heard of that. That's
album. Yeah.
I'll track it down.
It's got that kind of... Right, okay, move on to the next one. Okay. The next song you picked on here, Phil, is one of my absolute favourites. And again, it was covered by one of my absolute favourites as well. Non-Alignment Pack used to be done live by That Petrol Emotion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's fantastic.
Oh, that I've got it here.
Yeah,
I will track that down.
Yeah, it's on the B-side of a 12-inch.
Oh, yeah, because Ray and the Boys are huge fans, aren't they?
Yeah.
I've forgotten that.
Yeah. So, but yeah, this is Per Ubu from their album The Modern Dance and Non-Alignment Pact.
all because of you. It's all because of you. Girl, you know, it's all because of you. It's all because of you. Girl, you know, it's all because of you. You better sign up. La la la, la la la, you better sign up. La la
There we go. Just wait for that last bass note. Yes, brilliant,
Glorious,
isn't it?
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah, and the only American band that we've got on.
Yeah, there's a reason for that. Not anything derogatory. I think we made a conscious decision to, as much as possible, only play UK stuff.
Yeah.
But the reason we put Peruba in it is because there's such an influence on everybody else in the UK. I mean, when they tour in, 77, 78 kind of time?
Yeah.
And they really blow people's heads off in a way that I don't think anybody else did.
Yeah.
Certainly not from the States, anyway. Yeah. There's an argument, you could say Devo had a huge influence, but that's...
I suppose so, yeah. In a slightly different way. I mean, this is kind of like obviously more guitar-based as well, isn't it? So... But yeah, fantastic.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, I mean, if we could easily do a part 2 of this.
Well, we might do, yeah.
At this rate, there's so much stuff we haven't put in. So, and it's actually quite difficult. It's very difficult just to choose one specific set of list, one specific list, isn't it? As opposed to there's 30 or 40 tracks we could easily put in.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think what we're going to do is we'll give a shout out to Raymond,
absolutely,
the boys from that Petrol for that because I know he listens in. So
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Hello, Ray. You're a good
Ray. And talking of bands that influence people, I chose the next one mainly because I was listening to this and going, hang on. That's Boys and Girls by Blur. So,
yes.
Near enough, yeah. So, this is Wire and I Am the Fly.
Over your window, you think I'm confused.
Yes, nearly caught us out. But
Nice try.
Yeah. That was Wire and I Am the Fly. And we were just talking there about how that reminded us of Boys and Girls by Blur. And
we were kind of singing along to it, but we're not going to subject you to that.
No, absolutely not. And also we were just talking about Elastica as well. One of the songs on the first album.
Oh, yeah, we're trying to remember which one it is.
Yeah, which one it was, and I think Wire sued them, didn't we?
Something like that, yeah.
Or they said, "Oi, that's our song."
Basically, yeah. I mean, it was very derivative.
Yeah.
To put it mildly.
Yeah, and then, of course, if it's Starter, that's even better, because that song's about Damien Albarn.
Well, yes.
Yes, or at least part of Damien Albarn.
Yeah.
Anyway, the one thing I was going to say about Wire was that when I was at school, 77 to 82 or whatever, I used to sit next to this lad called Dylan. In geography, right? And me and Dylan got very, very bored, and we'd play this thing called the geography game, which was like have a grid, and one person would draw lines. It's kind of like a light box game, but drawn on paper. We just call it the geography game. He was Bruce Gilbert's son, and I had no idea because at that time I was still listening to my dad's Elvis records. To be quite honest,
wow.
height of punk, and I was still listening to rock and roll. That's how it was in the country. But yeah, I didn't realise for years later. And because we used to sort of chat about, I'd have a copy of the Daily Mirror or something like that and go, oh, look, the Tubes, aren't they meant to be horrible? And he went, they're really boring. Are they? Yeah, I've seen them. You've seen them? And then, of course, because Bruce Gilbert's son, he would have been at all these gigs and stuff. But
what a record collection. What a way to grow up. What an education.
Absolutely.
Musical education.
And like I say, I was completely oblivious.
Shame.
Some things never change. So, moving on. Next one's yours.
This is Susie.
Yeah.
Susie the Banshees. Because we've got to put the Banshees in because we have to. And it's again, what do you choose? And Christine's kind of a really obvious one, I know, but I love it.
Yeah.
So bang it out. This is great.
I will do. I shall bang it out for you now, Phil.
Cheers.
Style, personality changes behind her red smile. Every problem brings a stranger inside, hopelessly forcing one morning disguise. Christine, the strawberry girl, Christine, banana split lady, Christine, the strawberry girl, Christine, banana split lady. Savages lost in our world. This big-eyed girl sees her face is on pearl. Now she's in purple, now she's a turtle. Disintegrating Christine, the strawberry girl, Christine, banana split lady, Christine, the strawberry girl, Christine, sees her face is unfurled. Now she's in purple, now she's a turtle.
At least I know where that one ends, right? Susie and the Banshees and Christine. Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? I always remind me, because I always think about the car as soon as I hear that, the Stephen King thing.
Yeah.
But how many of these bands did you actually see live, Phil?
Very few.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, really?
I've seen Wire, Perry Boot, Gang of Four.
Yeah.
Who we'll get to later, but a lot of the others, no. Oh, and The Fall.
Right,
obviously.
yeah.
I saw The Fall several times, and that was a varied experience.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a bit, I think.
Yeah, because to be honest, I don't think I've seen any of these. And it's a real shame, it's kind of like whether I just missed that. Well, obviously, if I was listening to Blooming
You're listening to Elvis.
Yeah. Yeah, do they do Blue Suede Shoes? No. But it's kind of, it feels a bit of a shame to have missed out on...
It is. I'm just thinking of someone at Gang of Four doing Blue Suede Shoes. That I'd pay to see.
Yeah, I couldn't find that, unfortunately. But
it's a shame.
It's probably out there somewhere. Right, next one, I chose Subway Sect. Yeah, and this is just like one of my favourite songs ever.
Yeah.
It's got that great line at the end about vile evils of vile evils. And I always end up singing vile weevils to myself.
Well, we all do that.
Yeah, do we? I'm not the only one then.
Well, it's that great thing of misheard lyrics, isn't it?
Yeah.
With regards to Reclamation, the line is actually, it's time to meet your makers. And lots of people sing, it's time to meet Jamaicans.
Yes.
Like that.
Yeah. Oh, there's the REM one as well, isn't it? Sidewinder Sleeps Night, talking of Jamaica.
Yeah. There's loads of them.
Yeah.
Excuse me while I kiss this guy and all that.
Yeah. This is Subway Sect and Ambition. Faded out a bit quicker than I remember there. But yeah, those vile weevils at the end there, Subway Sect, and Ambition. And we were just saying that I think Subway Sect played Lewis last year.
You're saying, yeah.
Yeah, so Vic Goddard's still out there and doing it. I think he does solo stuff as well, doesn't he, as well now? So
vaguely, yeah. I've not seen him, and I really should get around to it.
Yeah. And next up, one of your choices, the Monochrome set.
Yeah, they're an interesting one because they were one of the bands that lots of other bands loved and no one else has ever heard of them.
Yeah.
They're hugely influential, not least because they're heavily connected with a guy called Stuart Goddard, otherwise known as Adam Ant.
Oh, right, cool.
Because he used to play in a band with, the lead singer and various others. Then he decided he wanted to be a pop star.
Right.
And one of the interesting things about Monochrome set is they're emblematic of the art school influence on the whole thing.
Right, yeah.
And they sort of coalesce around places like the Hornsey School of Art and things like that, which is a really interesting focus or focal point of that whole scene. Viv Albertine studied there, for example.
Right. Okay,
So you get a whole load of really interesting stuff coming out of the art schools, and it's that art school mindset sometimes meets rock and roll and decides to deconstruct it and do something different, as I said earlier.
And do those covers with kind of funny shapes on and things.
There's that too as well,
it's shapes, shirts done up and things like that. What I was going to say about the Monochrome set is they're mentioned in a song by Sirius Drinking.
Really?
Love on the Terraces. It's one of those things. But one of my favourite songs, and it's got like her name was Karen. She was from Dover or somewhere like that, and she was into the Monochrome set. And again, just mentioned, but hardly anyone knew. But anyway, you picked a track called "He's Frank," and I think we may have played a cover of this again earlier on because it was covered by the Brighton Port Authority, which is basically Fatboy Slim under a different alias, with Iggy Pop.
Of all people.
Doing the vocals, and actually it kind of worked. But anyway, this is the original, and this is the Monochrome set.
He's got secular joy. He's a peculiar boy. But now the luster has gone, the peculiar boy is no more. Who'll save him from being a man not me? He's got precious youth, but forsaken forsooth. And now the shine grows dim, change tradition for whim. Who'll save him from being a man, not me? He's got clothes all red, all on a purple bed. But now the rent in his eyes, he's no longer a prize. There he goes. Who'll save him from being a man, not me? He's a peculiar boy. He's a peculiar boy. And now his skin is slack, he shows a certain lack. Who'll save him from being a man, not me?
This is Radio Lewis, from under the chapel to all over the world. My name's Steve Brooks, and this is Vapour Trails.
Walking down the King's Road, I see so many faces. They come from many places. band together and try and look trendy. I think it's a shame that they all look the same. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. Then they go to Rough Trade, to buy Susie and the Banshees. They heard John Peel play it just the other night. They like to buy the O-level single I read about Seymour, but they're not pressed in red, so they buy the lurkers instead. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. They play their records very loud, they pogo in the bedroom, you glance at the mirror, but only when their mum's gone out. They pay 5p on the buses, and they never use toothpaste, but they got 250 to go and see the Clash tonight. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. Here they come, la 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 la, la 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 la, the part-time punks. The part-time punks, the part-time punks, the part-time punks, the part-time punks.
Just wait for the drummer to fall over there. That was Swell Maps and Read About Seymour. And for those of you who are paying attention, the track before that, Television Personalities, Part-Time Punks, mentions Read About Seymour.
Yeah,
so, yeah, see what I did there?
Yeah.
So, that's it,
That's very clever.
Yeah,
that last one was the Swell Maps is a big shout out to our friend Alison Fairchild.
Right, yeah.
Because she's still madly in love with Nicky Sudden, I think.
Oh,
Bless him. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, and we was just talking while they were on about the kind of aesthetic of indie and indie labels. And although Rough Trade Creation and Factory are not necessarily considered indie now, they
certainly started out that way.
And a lot of these kind of what was happening with post-punk was this explosion of small record labels.
Yeah, absolutely. It's as much a structural shift as a musical one, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of the way the music business works, or for some people anyway.
Yeah.
And a very deliberate desire to stay away from the mainstream, I think.
Yeah.
Partly because the mainstream wasn't hugely interested, because they didn't think that Swell Maps or whoever were going to sell millions of records.
No.
But also, it's about creating your own space and not compromising. And that's very much an attitude and an aesthetic that drives both indie and and all manner of genres and their labels. But for the next 20, 30 years, I mean, if you look at, say, even Acid House in the early 90s and stuff like that, it's exactly the same kind of structures.
Yeah.
Very much DIY, very much do-it-yourself.
Yeah.
Very much stay away from the mainstream record company.
Yeah, and there was that whole thing of, like, white labels, when you had to go searching for these labels that had nothing on them. What is it? You go, well, you're going to have to play it to find out.
Yeah.
But, talking to people who didn't really compromise, the next one you picked, Gang of Four.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely doing their own thing, aren't they? That's
Oh, God, yeah. I saw him at All Tomorrow's Parties about 10 years ago now, and it was a real wall of noise. It was fantastic.
Right,
One of the best gigs I've ever seen. And obviously I never saw them in the early 80s, but God, I wish I had.
Yeah. I seem to always associate raincoats with Gang of Four for some reason.
Okay.
Raincoats, long wearing? I don't know. Perhaps it's just me. Maybe I dreamt that. Anyway.
I don't know. It's your subconscious.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So we'll do the Freudian show another day. Okay, so this is Gang of Four and Ether.
Contradictions and breaks your new dreams daily. Each day, more day. Dirt behind the daydream. Dirt behind the daydream. The happy ever after is at the end of the rainbow. White noise in a white room. White noise in a white room. White noise in a white room. White noise in a white Trapped in heaven lifestyle. Long cash. You're looking out for pleasure. It's at the end of the rainbow. White noise in the happy ever after. White room. Dirt behind the daydream. Dirt behind the daydream. The happy ever after. It's at the end of the rainbow. You got the root of the problem. Flag on foreign soil. It breaks your new dreams daily. Long cash. Father's contradictions. Counties news. And breaks your new dreams daily. Each day, more day. Dirt behind the daydream. Dirt behind the daydream. The happy ever after. It's at the end of the rainbow. There may be now looking out for pleasure under rock. It's at the end of the rainbow. There may be the happy ever after under rock. It's hooked up with the ether. There may be oil hooked up with the ether under rock. It's hooked up with the ether. There may be oil.
Yeah, Gang of Four, Ether. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Fantastic stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you what that did remind me of towards the end there was Sleeping Gas by Teardrop Explodes. Again, similar kind of sound, similar kind of era. But I do like that way they kind of play with rhythms and it's kind of slightly disjointed.
It's quite angular and...
Yeah.
I mean, Julian Cope was a massive Gang of Four fan, and indeed Pere Ubu and people like that.
Yeah.
I mean, Pere Ubu was one of these big reference points that other musicians talk about.
Sure,
I mean, Ray Gorman's the same. It's one of those identifiers, isn't it? You know, if you like non-aligned with Bat, then you're all right with me, mate.
Exactly. And that was from their album Entertainment.
Yeah, and we were just saying we could have had just about any track off that record because it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so when I was originally thinking about this and post-punk, I really did want to put something in by the Buzzcocks, but then I was thinking they were one of those bands who started off punk and then kind of grew into the post-punk sound. So it doesn't. But however. You have picked Magazine.
Yeah.
And so
you kind of have to, really.
There is the link there, the Howard DeVito thing, and again, you know, hugely influential.
Exactly,
and I don't think they had that many hits, as such he says, within...
I mean, they're one of these bands that, I mean, DeVito, he kind of deliberately shot himself in the foot career-wise, I think.
Yeah.
There was that whole story about appearing on Top of the Pops, and he stood stock still or something like that. I mean, he was trying to sort of satirise the whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's one of the few singles in history where sales went down after appearing on Top of the Pops.
Yes, right.
Stuff like this. So he was very anti-careerist in that sense.
Yes. And oddly, as you mentioned, shot himself in the foot. Quite aptly, this is Shot by Both Sides. just making sure that one's finished. I didn't know what he was going. We were just talking about how unpredictable Howard DeVito used to be. Where it's like, I was just thinking, is he going to throw something in at the end there? Which I've forgotten about. Yeah. But actually, just moving on to the next band, and Phil's just admitted he doesn't know anything about this band, so that's quite cool.
I plead complete ignorance.
So I'm going to have to make this up. The next band is it's the Ali B moment, of course.
Of course.
And Ali's asked for the Modettes, and the only thing I can seem to remember that obviously an all-female band, know that. And when someone asked them why they're called the Modettes, they said we've got more debts than anybody else. So there you go. And again, I don't know much about them either, to be honest. Should we just play the track and talk about it afterwards? Okay,
yeah,
this is the Modettes and White Mice. Modettes and White Mice. We're just enjoying that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. We're just saying it's got a lot more use of backing vocals.
Yeah, which is quite unusual for this kind of period, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's kind of like, just let these singers do what they like, I think. Not saying that most of the post-punk male singers are egotistical.
No. When do you see what we've got next? But
exactly, yeah.
That is an interesting point, though, about women and in general, is that there's a lot more women involved.
Yeah.
around all this kind of stuff than traditional rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously we had the Slits earlier and Susie and so on.
Yeah, yeah. But we've got a great one coming up in a little while as well, which is one of my favourites as well, of the punk granny. I can't remember what her name is now, but it'll come back to me once I look it up on Google. And one thing actually about the Modettes, the drummer was June Miles Kingston, and I think remember her because she used to play drums for Fun Boy 3, and there's also a drummer when the Communards did Don't Leave Me This Way.
Okay, cool.
So she was like a kind of session drummer as well. So, but that's really cool.
I like that.
So anyway, let's move on to the next one because we can't really do a post-punk show without.
We have to talk about The Fall.
The Fall, yeah. And as Ben pointed out earlier on, is that one of his friends said that every time you see The Fall, you can add one new band to the list of bands you've seen.
That's very true.
And you've definitely got personal experience of that.
Yeah, I saw 4 or 5 gigs. And one was stunning and one was really bad. You never quite knew what you were going to get when you walked in the door.
Yeah, I don't think the band did they, to be honest?
That's true. I mean, what can you say about Marky Smith that hasn't already been said? I think
I liked his taste in jumpers.
Oh, God.
Has anyone ever mentioned that?
I mean, he's one of those people who shape an entire culture just by being there.
Yeah,
you know, and I think that's really important that you bear that in mind. It's not just about the jokes about how many different band members he had and all the rest of it. He made a real difference.
Yeah,
just by being there and by being this constant for nearly 40 odd years.
Yeah.
Which is a hell of an achievement when you think about it. It is, really. Yeah. And completely not compromising at all.
No.
And just doing his own thing.
No.
And that's something to be admired, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the various personal difficulties he had and caused, but just concentrate on the music, I think.
I think this particular song we're going to play, I think kind of sums up a lot of...
well, it's early period Fall, isn't it?
Early period, and it's just fantastic. So, without further ado, this is The Fall and Totally Wired.
I'm totally wired. I'm totally wired. I'm totally wired. Totally wired. Can't you see a butterfly stomach ground? I drank a
fool there entirely wild, and that goes out to my very good friend Rich Craven. And if I don't mention him, he'll come and throttle me, I think. So.
Oh, well, it's fair enough. Yeah, that'd make entertaining radio, wouldn't it?
Well, he's one of the world's biggest Fool fans, so...
yeah. Right, yeah. Right, literally, size-wise.
Anyway.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so we're going to try and squeeze a couple more in. And, yes, I mentioned the punk granny. And I don't know, do you know much about the Poison Girls?
Not a huge amount,
No. Well, the Poison Girls were one of those kind of anarchist bands around with Crass and the whole kind of whopping scene. And their singer, who goes on the name of Vi Subversa, was in her 40s when they started.
Wow.
And it's just great. This is quite a long song, so we're going to have to crack on with it. But I'm going to play this for Karen Amston from Hagar the Womb, who I'm sure is a huge fan of the Poison Girls as well. And this is Persons Unknown.
You don't exist, you never did. Hiding in shadows, persons unknown. Habits of hiding soon will be the death of us. Dying in secret from poisons unknown. This is a message to persons unknown. Strangers and passers-by, persons unknown. Turning a blind eye, hope to go unrecognized. Keeping your secrets, persons unknown.
Yes, fading out nicely there. That was marvellous. Poison Girls. Yeah. Okay, so we're coming to the last track, Phil. So let me say thank you very much for coming in and sharing me your knowledge and your choices. And I think we'll have to do it again.
Definitely.
Squeaky chair, isn't it? That one?
Yeah, that is the squeaky chair. Sorry.
That's all right. Yes, just to say thanks to everyone for listening, the sharers and carers. Thanks to Ben for producing, and thank you to Phil for coming in. And we're going to finish off with I was going to say 2-3 Skidoo, but it might be 23 Skidoo. We don't know, do we? No, we don't know. But yeah, just quickly tell us about this, Phil.
Because I picked it really because it's completely mad, and it's this extraordinary. I hate to use the word fusion, but it's kind of appropriate.
Yeah, that's quite good, I think. Yeah.
And they've been listening to an awful lot of funk and jazz and reggae, and they just throw it all together, and it works.
Yeah, and it's kind of taking post-punk into the next direction, isn't it? Kind of chronologically wise.
That's a good way of putting it, yeah. And this is, 82, I think, something like that?
Yeah. So it's kind of like get your slip-ons and your white socks ready.
Something like that, yeah.
And bop away, right. Okay, well, cheers, Phil.
A pleasure.
And, this is 2-3 Skidoo, or 23 Skidoo, and Coop. Coop.
Think pigeons, mate.
Cut that out. Right. Cheers.
Broadcasting for a worldwide audience.